What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and let's continue rolling on. We got two more teams to finish up, and let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead with the Guardians this time around. And you know what? This is one of those teams where you're just like, I don't know, I kind of feel a little bad for them. Who knows? They could end up being good. Things could end up being good for them. I just kind of feel bad for them. But anyways, we're with the Orlando Guardians. If you remember, this is the team that has been, I don't know how you want to view it. If they've been moved from New York down to Orlando or from Tampa Bay to Orlando. Remember, they stole the Vipers colors, but yet they got their team name and logo from the New York Guardians. You know, I don't know. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me. What does make sense is Orlando. Listen, Florida, the whole state of Florida is pretty much football. You put a team in Florida and they will come. And they will come out for this team in Orlando. The Apollos had a great following when they were there in the AAF, and Orlando will support this Guardians team, whatever they look like. And really, that's kind of, you know, where we are with it. So they're going to be at Camping World Stadium, which is a great place to play. It's a great stadium. They always have good bowl games there. It's going to have 60,000 fans. Roughly, I think they're probably going to get around 30,000 people. They might get more than that, but we'll see. But I think that they'll definitely get enough to get that place moving, hopping. It'll be a fun time. If you're there in Orlando, go check this team out. I think you'll have a fun experience. So now, with this team, again, it's like back to this color scheme thing. You had an opportunity with this Orlando team to completely try something new. So you didn't have to bring the colors over from Tampa Bay, and you sent the Vipers out to Vegas, so they can't wear their old Viper stuff, but yet it's still the same kind of old colors, but they've kind of tried to revamp it and make it better. It still isn't great with the puke orange, puke orange. It's got the puke yellow everywhere, green, however you want to look at it. It's just, the stuff that I've seen on the field does look all right. It looks better to me, and that's kind of how I felt on the 2020 stuff with the Vipers. But this thing, they had an opportunity to really do something for the area. There's so much that's going on down there in Florida, especially where they're at. You know, there's so many things you could do. To stick with the Guardians name, that's okay, but you could have given me a little bit more here. Like, I can't tell, like, I like that they did a little bit of a difference and changed it from the gargoyle, kind of Gotham feel to more of like a predatory type of an animal, like a cat or a bear, but I can't figure out if it's supposed to be a bear, if it's supposed to be a cat, if it's supposed to be a bear cat, if it's supposed to be a cat bear. I have absolutely no clue what it's supposed to be. I don't know. One minute I look at it, I think it's a cat. The next minute I think it's a bear. I don't know. They have both. So choose what you want. I think that overall it's okay. I kind of like the striped thing with it, the lines, that's cool with it. Just get rid of, I don't know why we can't get rid of this puke green. It drives me nuts. And two, the G, you had an opportunity, but instead you went with the generic G for that alternative logo. Both of those are just huge misses. Now, whether or not that'll translate into anything, I don't know. Hopefully the dark green will make up for it, and we'll see once they get out on the field and we see them under the lights on or under the sun, depending upon what time of the day. But anyways, to move on, we've got a new head coach in Terrell Buckley, and this whole really coaching staff is made up of a lot of guys who are taking the next step in their coaching career. Obviously, this is what this league is about, and so bringing in a guy like Terrell Buckley just makes sense. And really, he was one of the first guys that was kind of, the rumored guy to come in as one of the head coaches. He's going to be going from kind of that defensive backs type of a coach to the head coaching ranks with it. He's got a lot of coaching experience. So I'm not necessarily too worried about it. The interesting thing is here, though, when you start going down, you see that you got 2 coordinators and an assistant head coach. So you've got Lamar Thomas, who's going to be the assistant head coach, and he is a guy that is a lot of offensive background. So it does kind of make sense. You got a guy who's been running a defense, and he brings in as the second in command a guy that's, ran offenses, mainly wide receivers. So he's getting another opportunity as well. And then when you look at his counterpart as the offensive coordinator, you've got a guy in Robert Ford, who pretty much has coached wide receivers and tight ends for pretty much his entire life. This guy is no spring chicken when it comes to coaching. He's been coaching since 1973. So, but this is really an odd move this late in his career, that he would be taking a coordinator position and moving up from just a positional coach. But hey, it's cool, and I'm all for it. Now, turning to the defensive coordinator, you got Tony Carter, and Tony Carter is another one of those guys who is a position coach that's moving up to a defensive coordinator. Now, he and Terrell Buckley have both been cornerbacks coaches pretty much throughout their whole career. So they haven't actually, been the general on the defense. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates for this team. As I look at the roster, it really all starts for me at the quarterback position. And I think bringing in Paxton Lynch, of course, former first round draft pick. This is a guy that you gotta like. I mean, he's a guy who's trying to revive his career. I think that he's got a lot of potential here. The key thing for me is whether or not he can remain healthy, and if this coaching staff and this roster is going to be enough to support him. It'll be interesting. I for some reason in my head, I feel like this is going to be another turn of events like it was in Michigan. He kind of started getting things rolling there in Michigan with the drive or so, then got hurt and everything fell apart. And really, Michigan's season fell apart, and I feel like this could happen with this team as well. I'm seeing a lot of the same makings. Now, granted, coaching staff's totally different. I mean, you go from a very veteran coaching staff to a more raw coaching staff, but who knows? Some people are saying that it might be a DeAndre Francois' team. I don't know. DeAndre Francois is a guy who hasn't figured it out, and he might not. He has all of the talent in the world. He has all of the intangibles. This is a guy who was highly touted, highly recruited, went to Florida State, and really never really materialized into a whole lot. You got a guy in Quentin Dormady who's behind both of them. I don't really think he's got a whole lot of shot unless both of them go down to get, or they both play terrible to get in there. But really, it'll be interesting to see, the quarterback position. But I think it's Peyton. Peyton. My daughter's name's Peyton. Paxton's team, going forward here. Now, looking at the running backs, you get 2 guys that pretty much would consider to be rookies in this state. Now, granted, they would, if they were on a team, this would have been their rookie season. So, you're looking at 2 guys that would be rookies in Devin Darrington and Jermaine Martin. And both of these guys, I think, are going to be guys that they have a lot of faith in, because if you're only carrying 2 running backs, you seem to have a lot of faith in them. And then when you look at the wide receivers, this is made up of a lot of guys who are going to be quick, shifty, and to get open that way. You don't see a lot of tall guys. I mean, you see a lot of 5'10", 5'11", 6'1", stuff like that. They really only have one guy that's really, in that, higher than 6'1", and he's at 6'4", so they don't really have a lot of height at that position. But they got guys like Eli Rogers, they got Rambo from Oklahoma, and they've got Bird, who we've seen a couple of those guys in these alternative spring leagues before, and these guys are guys that are going to they're going to use their athleticism to get open, to make plays and that with it, to where I think that this is going to be, you're going to have a nice running game. You're going to see it probably running a lot of wide receiver sets. I wouldn't be surprised if you're seeing a lot of slot play from wide receivers, even maybe from tight ends, and that's how you're going to get a lot of your running plays there with it. I think you're going to see, this is going to be really an offense that's going to be ran by the quarterback. If the quarterback play isn't good, it's not going to do well. And if they don't have good line play, it's not going to do well. I don't know. There's just too many things up in the air to where I really feel like this team is really going to mesh together, come together. When I look at the defense, you see a lot of experience from, different leagues and different spring leagues, CFL, things of that nature. I'm really curious to see how this defensive line, this defensive front seven is going to really pull itself together, because you've got the two guys that are at the head of this defense have really always focused on the secondary. So to see how that's going to translate, to that defensive front seven, we'll see how that goes. The one thing that I will say for this team is that they are in the South, which I feel is a much weaker division. I think that Dallas can really run away with this, and one of the three other teams are going to sneak in there and take that other spot. This is a team that they're a long shot to me to make the playoffs. I really see them realistically at like 4 wins. I don't really get over that number of 4 wins, and most of the wins I see are kind of like a toss-up thing. I don't really have a lot of faith in this team, and I apologize for saying that to all of you Orlando fans, but look, I keep looking at it, and I want to like this team. Like I said, with Paxton, with Francois, I want to see these guys succeed. I just don't see it happening. I hope that they surprise me and make it into the playoffs. But 4 wins, I feel like, is the ceiling for them. I think that the wheels could fall off of this team. I think that it could be, it could be kind of like what happened with Pittsburgh last year in the USFL. I could see, 2 wins, 2 to 4 wins is kind of where I'm at with it. All right, guys, that's what I've got. As always, I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and we'll continue the conversation on down there. All right, guys, listen, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.